ChrisyConder
Oh
is
my
in the
gosh!
house.
This is so fun.
They saw me like you're right here.
I know.
And so I'm excited about it. So I told people that they asked me if I wanted comedians. And I said, well, let's check and see. But then I found you, and I thought, she lives in Nashville.
There you go. I'm
And,
close enough.
like right down the road.
There you
and
go.
so if we can get her quick without having to pay for gas, we're good. And so you were able to come.
Very happy.
You're able to come. So
Yes.
it's good to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you.
Good to see you. I'm excited about talking about your comedy career, your journey.
Yeah.
So you started out, you're in comedy, but you started out in Texas. So you're a
did.
Texas girl.
I am a
Congratulations
Texas
for
girl.
making
Thank
it
you.
out.
Thank you.
So tell me about your childhood.
I grew up in Houston, and we had a funny family. My grandmother was funny. My parents encouraged laughter in our house. So I grew up listening to albums from Spike Jones, which was in the 40s and the 50s. It did kind of sketch comedy type stuff on vinyl, as the kids call it now. And then I listened to Mike Warnke, who was a Christian comedian at the time, kind of rare. And then Isaac Airfreight, which was a sketch comedy group, Dan Ruppel, and I forget the rest of them. But yeah, that's what I listened to over and over. And I would listen to that like a lot of other people have listened to other comedians and their albums and things. So that's what I just grew up listening to. And my parents encouraged me on
But
that.
your grandmother was sort of a comedian
She
as well,
was.
right?
She was kind of an operatic singer.
Okay.
But she would also do funny things with her opera singing. Like she would dress up in funny costumes, or she would mix up words, or she would mix up songs, and she would be the soloist, but yet come on with a bird cage. I mean, she was really funny.
So you had it in front of you all this time.
All the
so
time.
you were just being exposed to it.
Yeah,
That is so
yeah.
cool.
So it was a good childhood for comedy.
And that kind of made you want to do that.
It did. And my parents kind of were really good at finding what we were good at. My brother was good at numbers, so we didn't communicate. But
He's an accountant, right?
No, he's an engineer.
Ew.
So yeah. So
sorry about that.
Whatever.
Christmas is fun for you.
Exactly. So exciting. Let's go look at substations.
Yeah.
You're weird. Anyway. So, but my parents would give me a tape recorder before there were before video cameras and things like that. They would give me a tape recorder, and I would do dramas and things and comedies into the tape recorder with different voices and things like that. Play it back, listen to it, redo it. Do that.
So you were
stuff.
critiquing yourself?
I did. I did. I was like, didn't like that line, so I would do it over.
Come on with that.
It was funny. Yeah. So it was a lot of sketch comedy stuff. My friends and I would make up things like "These are the days of our farm," and
that is
as
good.
the corn turns, things like that. We would,
as the corn turns. Do you still have copies of this stuff?
That's a great question.
That
I think
would
we
be
do.
gold right
I think
now.
we do.
If you
As the
started
corn
streaming
turns.
that, listen, you never know.
As I remember the line. I mean, we would listen to it over and over and think, was that the funniest line?
That's
me and my friends. Isn't that funny?
So you kind of always knew you wanted to.
Yeah, I've always done drama stuff. Stage doesn't scare me. That's the thing. The stage never scared me. My parents said that when I got baptized, I put my hands up on the baptistry and started talking, and they were like, "This is not the time to speak, Christy. This is not the time to do a sermon."
Exactly.
Just, But I was like, "Okay, let me tell you about my life at 12." So,
I've been through a lot.
Exactly. It's been quite a journey to get here.
God's brought me from the pits of 12-year-old
Exactly.
drama.
You don't know where I have been. So yeah, So I've just never been afraid of the stage. So anytime I could get up on stage was no big deal. So what led when we finally moved to Nashville, out of Houston, I just kind of was like just in the no man's land type of thing going, I've never moved from Texas. I feel like I have to turn in some cards or something,
Right.
And my husband said, what have you always wanted to do? And I said, I've always wanted to try stand up. And he goes, go for it.
Wow.
Just go for it. So I looked up Rick Roberts and he had a class at Zany's, and it was in kind of writing for comedy. And I was like,
Which is a great class.
Great
He's
class.
not doing it anymore, but shout out to Rick Roberts because that was a great.
He's the grandfather of us
podcast,
all, it seems
the
like.
podcast and the writing.
Yeah.
It was great.
The writing I encourage for so many people because it just teaches you what's funny, what are funny words, what structure is,
Right.
how to analyze what you're doing. It was just really good. It was fun for me and my kids because we would make a a list of funny words. So my kids would come home from school and go, "Mom, I learned a funny word." And I said, "Let's wait till we get home." You know,
I don't have a pen with me. Let's wait.
Yeah, don't say it in front of your friends. You know, but we would come up with funny words, and my husband liked words as well, so we would just say, "Oh, there's a funny word. There's a funny word." So it was just a good exercise. So anyway, did that first, and then did his actual stand-up class.
What was that like?
Terrifying.
Yeah,
absolutely. And there were only 3 people in that class.
See, I never went through the class. I had to do everything remotely. But I found him after I started doing comedy. So I'm going back and learning what I'm doing wrong.
Right. And he would say, "I'm saving you 2 years of open mics by taking the class."
It was so good.
So it was really, really good. And that first time up on stage, the graduation show, I did 4 jokes. You had 3 minutes. I think I ended in a minute 22 because I was like, "I'm done," and ran off the stage.
You've got 4 minutes. Don't need it.
Nope.
Don't need it.
Nope. And I was like going 3 minutes. Oh my gosh!
I'll donate my time to the next comic.
Like, let's do some commercials, shall we? So, but I made it through that, and there's actually just one joke from that I still tell, and so that's how that started, and it just slowly. You think it comes very quickly, but it does not. You just have to work and work and work at
So
comedy.
have you done any more comedy club, open mic stuff? Or?
I've not.
I haven't either because my mom's still alive, so I've not done any clubs.
Well, there was a church that would do a coffee house on a Saturday night, and that was kind of the open mic. It was a safe open mic, and so I did that for almost a year. If they would have me. So it was anybody that wanted to come, but it had to be clean, and you had a set amount of time, and it was a lot of other comedians, and that's where I met Bone Hampton, who became a mentor for me, huge mentor for me. He kind of did some stuff in his bits and in his act, and I went, "Oh, we can do that."
Yeah.
So we moved. So I started writing. Similarly, that's a hard word.
You can't use those type of words.
Him.
Those words we have to beep out.
Okay, got
words
it.
that we can't spell, we have to beep out. So.
There's a lot of L's in there. Okay, so I just started kind of letting him mentor me in comedy writing and things like that. So that's how it kind of came about.
I was very careful when I started doing it because I tell people while most people were having a midlife crisis, I was having a midlife start over because I've only been doing this 4 years.
Yeah.
And so people say, "Well, who do you watch? Who do you listen to?" And I'm like, no one.
Yeah.
And here's why. I wanted to find my voice.
Right.
And I was afraid that if I hear them, I would try to become them.
Right.
And I was very careful. And I'm just now getting to the point to where I can listen to certain things because I don't want to be tempted to take their stuff. And I know that's hard to admit.
Right.
But comedy people take that very serious.
They do. It's a big taboo.
There's like a mafia that will hunt you down if they find out. But no, I didn't want to, I didn't want people to say, "Oh, yeah, you sound just like him," or "You're just like them." I wanted
but you're
to be
get
me.
those comparisons anyway.
Yes, I just wanted
especially
it to be
for a
me.
woman. I
Really?
mean, for a woman, oh yeah, we get.
Are you Shonda Pierce?
You're
all the
trying
time?
to be Shonda Pierce, or you're trying to be Anita Renfro, or
Yeah.
you're trying to be, whoever. You're just trying to be
Leanne
like them,
Morgan
and
or any of them. Yeah.
or Leah Morgan and or Sherry Shepherd or any of these other comedians that are very good, but you get that comparison anyway. And so it was for a while. It's been trying to find my own voice and trying to find who I want to be, who I want to represent, and it's got to be different.
And everybody says, "What do you want to say?"
Right.
I'm like, something funny.
Right.
That's what I want to say.
It's not rocket science.
I want to say something people laugh. That's what I want.
But then when you get into this industry, you realize how many different types of comedians there are. It's that we're in that world.
All right, so you made the same choice I did, and I'll explain what we're talking about because when I started doing this, I had some mentors that I reached out to, and they were in L.A., so they were not in the Bible Belt. They said you have to choose. Yeah. I'm not as edgy as I could be. But you had to make a choice. And they said, you got to make a choice. Are you going to be a clean comic or not? And they said, now, when you become a clean comic, it's harder to write. It's harder to perform, but you're going to have more opportunities.
Absolutely.
And
Heard the same thing.
You were told that. So we had to make that conscious decision. It wasn't just a faith thing. It was a career choice we had to make. So what was your reasoning behind it?
Well, that's just who I am. I mean, I was raised in the church. I was raised with Christian comedians. I was raised. That was just who I am. And I couldn't necessarily go that direction of working blue or working filthy, you know, or whatever, just even working in that space because that's not me.
Right.
So that wasn't a real big choice. It just was who I am. So I was going to remain true to me.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I learned from Bone was that, you know, God is holy. Everything else is fair game.
Yeah.
You know, and so it was, let's find the funny in things. And Mike Warnke was really good at taking Bible stories and turning them into modern Bible stories and finding the fun in that in some of the stories. And I love kids, so I'd love to tell them stories in a new and different way, in a modern way that they can understand, taking from Scripture. So that was just me, just being me.
Right.
And
so you already knew who you were before.
Yeah. I knew who I was. And but it slowly become more the mom side of it, but I didn't want to just be known as that because that's been done. That's kind of easy.
But it's hard too because that's a great point in the fact that people said the best way to do comedy is to just do your life the way that you're doing it. Well, if my life is just like everybody else's life, you know, you're going to be that mom.
Right.
You know?
Well, and what was fun was Bone would take me on the road and he would have me open for him. But we would spend so much time in the car that he would go, tell me what you're working on. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think this is that funny. And he's like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but why? And he goes, you have to find the funny of it.
Yeah.
He was like, because it's something similar that people can go through, but find the funny. Find what is funny about that.
Yeah.
Or I'd say, I have this idea about this. And he'd go, what's funny about that?
Exactly.
And I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. You know, so it was talking it through made me realize there was more funny out there than I really thought. Yeah.
Oh, it's out there.
Yeah.
It's
so,
out there.
And I think another comedian friend said, premises are hard, jokes are easy. And I was like, that's a good statement too.
It is.
Finding new original premises can be really difficult. So that was just part of the work, is finding the voice that is different than other people, that hasn't already been done.
That's the key.
Yeah.
That hasn't already been done because there's been a lot of funny stuff happen.
Right. So that's what
people
happened with me in my dry bar special, is that I decided my background, and this was part of Bone telling me, I've been PTA president twice for my kids' schools, different schools. I've done that. And he was like, has anybody done PTA jokes? Has anybody done like mom club jokes? And I'm like, I haven't heard any. So he goes, you got to tap into that.
Yeah.
So for Dry Bar, I came up with a series of some of this funny stuff that happened to me as PTA president. And I did a whole section on that at Dry Bar. They put that out on Instagram, got 1.2 million views. So that went viral. And I went, that's just me hitting a niche that nobody else had hit before. So it's like, okay, let's keep going.
So are you known as the PTA mom?
I
now?
am as the PTA mom.
See, that's what...
And they did a great, and I'll give credit to Dry Bar too. They put on their, on that Instagram post, they put, send this to your PTA president if you dare.
Oh, yeah.
So then it was just going boom, 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 boom.
That is so good.
Yeah. So that was fun.
That is so cool. So coming into, because you mentioned kids a while ago. Now, when you say that you enjoy being around kids, like you went to school to be around kids.
I have an education degree.
So you literally invested lots of money so you could hang out with kids. So you don't just like them.
Really, I just identified with them more than than most. I always say I never graduated.
But you spent some time in the education system.
I did. I was a teacher for a while, and then I've been children's director for 3 different churches. So it's been, that's another niche. You know, a lot of people talk about churches, but I can specifically talk about children's ministry and those volunteers and being a part of that group and what we get to deal with on a Sunday morning.
Exactly.
While you're going to big church, I have to deal with these wonderful,
it's more than
precious
just a babysitting
children.
class.
Oh, no. Yeah. No.
You're
Take it very seriously.
You're crafting some young minds.
Yes. It's a big job. And I took it very seriously. I'm not at a church currently, but I took it very seriously, and I still do. I think it's a very, very important. But
what are some of the things you've had to overcome? Because everybody tells me, and I've even used this line before in my shows, in the fact that if you do any research on any comic that you enjoy that's really funny, you're going to find that we use the funny to cover up some stuff.
Oh, sure.
So what you covering up?
Let's get to it.
I know we just met, but just between us, just us talking here. What?
I think we all struggle with the imposter syndrome of thinking, why am I doing this? I can't do this. I'm not funny. I mean, at least that's what I
was
do.
me.
I don't know about you.
Well, I told my wife, I
Yeah.
said, the Lord wants me to be a comedian. She goes, but you're not funny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, thank you for that confirmation.
I went to a funeral a couple weeks ago in Houston, and one of my cousins went, I haven't watched any of your stuff because I'm scared you're not funny.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, what?
Try bar comedy. Come
exactly.
on.
She goes, I can't watch it.
Well, Huckabee likes me.
Exactly. I was like, I'm funny.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, at least I thought so. Anyway, so and also you're trying to decide what do you want to share that makes you really vulnerable, that is funny, and what do you want to just say, let's not go there.
Yeah.
And so it's getting comfortable enough to be that vulnerable.
Right.
And that's something I've had to overcome. Like, I don't want to make anybody look bad. I don't want to be mean to anybody. And I've started not caring about that. No,
Yes.
but being honest is different than being mean.
Right.
So I've had to overcome those kind of things and understanding what God has given me versus what makes me shy away from people. So if that makes any sense. But being okay to be who I am has been a little bit of a challenge, especially like with the PTA stuff and being the mom stuff, and not just feeling that's been done. And I don't know that I can make fun of that.
Yeah, one of the themes that I have seen, and I've mentioned it on several episodes already, is the fact that we choose a career. We've been taught all of our life not to think. Don't worry about what people think. Don't let their words hurt you. Don't let their opinions matter. And I'm like,
when you figure
I chose
that out,
a
tell
career.
me.
We chose a career
Right.
to where we have to worry about that.
Yeah.
And there's a fine line of being able to keep that healthy.
Right.
And it not affecting you. So
Right.
how do you keep that healthy for you?
Family. Family keeps you kind of in center. My husband keeps me in center, and I made a rule very early on that I wasn't going to throw him under the bus. I wasn't going to be disparaging of him because that's kind of overdone with women too. Let's bash men.
Yeah.
So he keeps me centered and going, yeah, we're not going to do that. Or yeah, we're not doing that.
You know that story you told?
Exactly.
I know it killed.
Well, and I
but
run it by him. I run it by him on some stuff, and I even ran something by my daughter recently, my middle daughter, and she was like, "Mom, I've already told that joke," but it was the
so
fact.
she claimed copyright.
Yes, she's already saying I get a portion of your proceedings of whatever you make off that.
Joke stealer.
Because we have 3 beautiful children. They're all adults. We grew up in a very creative house. We created this very wonderful house. My husband is an art major, so he's very artistic. I do the stand-up. I've done, sewing,
Oh, my
quilting, that kind of
goodness,
stuff.
yeah.
My oldest daughter is an actor in New York. She got a degree in acting. She's a Shakespearean artist. My son, my youngest child, is a screenwriter in L.A., and he's doing great. And then we have our black sheep of the family, the one we just don't know what to do with, and she's an accountant.
Oh, wow. I thought you was going to say Waffle House, but
No,
okay. That's
she's
better.
an accountant. I know. Pray for me. We don't know where we went wrong. She has her master's in accountancy. She told me, Mom, don't worry. I can make a spreadsheet really pretty. I was like, I don't understand what you just said.
What are, we
What are
putting
you
in a
talking about?
spreadsheet?
Numbers?
Yeah.
What? She's like Excel certified. I'm like, what? Like, where are you? What
where
are
you
who
excelling?
are you?
What are you excelling in?
What is wrong with you? We're gonna pray for you.
You're such
She's
a
the most.
disappointment.
She's so stable.
So-
We don't get it.
Why are you so disappointing to the family?
You have a steady job. What is wrong with you?
A salary? What is that?
Benefits? You have a 401k. I mean, it's just, she just cracks us up that she, and I said, is this okay for me to tell? And she goes, I tell people that all the time. I'm the weird one.
Oh, wow.
Because I have a master's in accountant.
Yeah, my family, of course, coming from the pastor's background, where I was serving as a pastor, my family, the running joke for our family was, you're going to be in an illustration.
Exactly.
And the thing about it was,
for sure.
And this is what I learned that's helped me in comedy, and that was, and my wife kept pointing it out to me, I could go buy a book of illustrations to tell, but if I told an illustration from my life and from my
Exactly.
family, it hit.
Exactly.
And so my wife, she pushed me from the very beginning. She's like, just tell stories about your life.
That works in children's ministry too. I made a rule in children's ministry that I would only talk about myself as a kid. So I didn't mention my husband or my kids or anything like that because it doesn't register. It didn't register. They don't see me as that. So I would talk about growing up with a brother, fighting with my brother, or when I stole chapstick from Kroger. I know that's my thing I need to cover up. But
that's
you know,
bonus footage.
I know.
You'll find more of that story.
Do you know
later.
A lot of my kids that I had, like when I went back to Houston for this funeral, came up to me. They're like, in their early 20s, and I'm like, you remember when you told us about stealing chapstick? And I was like, seriously? That's what you remember? But
that's the impact I left on you?
They were horrified. Yeah. I mean, they're little, but they're horrified going, oh, Miss Christy stole chapstick.
Yeah, she's going to prison. Oh my gosh.
So that was my rule is I really only talked about things that happened to me as a kid so they could identify with me as a kid, even though I'm an older person standing up in front of them.
Yeah.
So I loved that part that they would go, that their parents would come back and go, my daughter's really worried about you since you stole the chapstick. I'm like, I'm 45. It'll be okay. Anyway.
Time has passed.
Exactly. I think we're okay.
What is it called? Where they can't
the
come back?
statute of limitations has run out. I don't think Kroger's looking for me anymore.
Good. I think we're good. Kroger has bigger problems right now. That chapstick is not what sent them into bankruptcy.
I returned that chapstick. I did. My brother turned me in. And
did he really?
Yes, he tattled on me. And my mom marched me back in, and I had to talk to the manager and say I was so sorry for stealing this chapstick. And mortified.
Here's a free ticket to my show that I'm recording in my bedroom later tonight if you want to come in.
Exactly.
If I can pay you back. So when you do clean comedy, I don't know if it's just me, and you're probably going to expose it that it's just me, but when you do clean comedy, especially in churches, do you find that to be a very critical place where people really want to be critical? And I'm not trying to throw the church under the bus, but my most critical comments come from the overly spiritual church people.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, it's a joke.
Right.
We're just trying to laugh. And they're like, you're so far over the line. And I'm like, it's a joke.
Right.
So
God's holy. Everything else is fair game.
Do you experience that? Or is it just me? Because this is therapy for me. I need someone to speak
absolutely.
into me.
But I go, because I do talk about different scriptures that are weird. Mm-hmm. Especially talking to children about them. There are certain things you cannot talk to children about, even if they're from the Bible.
Children do not know Song of Solomon is in the Bible.
Exactly.
They do not
There's
know that.
no coloring sheets on the Song of Solomon.
There is for big church,
exactly,
but there's not.
Exactly. We're not doing a matching.
Listen,
we're not doing a matching. Let's compare the. Okay, let's do the allegory to the truth. We're not doing that. But I've had people go, because I say not everything is appropriate in the Bible. And I've had people go, yes, it is, the whole Bible. And I'm like, have you read it all?
Yeah. You've not read those scriptures.
Exactly. There's some stuff that you're not going to teach. You're not, never mind. Anyway, so I have to be confident in going, I know, one, I've taught children for a long time, 25 years of teaching children from the Word of God. I know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. So you can't come back to me. It just exposes you when you come back and tell me, oh yeah, not all of it. Yeah, that you should be preaching everything. No. Right. No. So that's what I get pushback of. Or from another clip from the Dry Bar, people were like, you shouldn't make fun of God. I'm like, I'm not making fun of God.
Exactly.
I'm making fun of people.
Absolutely.
Because
that's
people are fair game.
Yeah, I've been called out. You're making fun of the Holy Ghost. And I'm like, I never mentioned him.
Right.
Just because your mind went there.
Right.
Doesn't mean that.
Right.
So what does it say about? Okay.
Right. Exactly. You're like, I need you to stop talking because you're just exposing yourself here.
You're exposing yourself.
Yeah. You're just making it very obvious that you don't know what you're talking about. So bless your heart. Yeah.
My favorite illustration on that topic is the fact that the Bible is real. The Bible is true. From Genesis to Revelation, even in the maps. And I'm like, all right, well, what about the part where Jesus turned water into wine? Well, it wasn't real wine. Well, no,
so you're changing the miracle of Jesus, okay?
You said, no. Back in the day, it wasn't real wine. Okay, well, the people were drunk, so whatever the miracle was.
Well, then that diminishes the miracle.
Exactly.
Because that was the whole point of the miracle.
But it's like we'll take it to the absolute truth until it makes us feel uncomfortable, and then we got to change it. Right. We're talking about comedy. So...
But you know what? I was blessed, and the Lord made me laugh so many times because I think he has a sense of humor. As Mike Warnke used to say, he has to have servants like us.
Absolutely.
So there are parts in Scripture that I read differently than a lot of people as a comic. So Elijah sitting, talking, they are having their contest on who's going to burn up what.
Yes.
And Elijah's really sarcastic to the people. And he says, well, maybe your God's sleeping.
Yeah, you want y'all yell a little louder.
Yell a little louder.
Yeah.
Or
He
maybe
can't
he's
hear
on
you.
vacation.
Yeah, he can't hear y'all.
That's sarcasm. That is absolute sarcasm.
I love
and
it.
they go, oh, thank you, Mr. Elijah. Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
Let's cut ourselves a little bit more. And I mean, he was just sitting back there laughing, going, you've got to be kidding. Or Aaron, when he throws everything into the fire after Moses has been on the hill, and Moses comes down and goes, what is going on? And he goes, well, everybody was like being ridiculous. And so I took all their stuff and they wanted me to build a calf. And I said, no, I'm going to throw it into this fire. And out came this calf.
Yeah. It's
I'm
amazing.
like, come on.
You got to talk about
That's
this stuff.
hilarious.
I mean, let's not. I mean, and even the basic Jonah getting swallowed.
Oh, yeah.
By, I mean, that's a given.
Yeah, right.
But they're going to teach that to us, and you're like, you're not going to see the funny in that.
Right. Or and then he went and pouted. He was like, you said you were gonna destroy them, and you like gave grace to them, and that's not fair. And I'm gonna sit underneath my tree and pout.
Yeah. Why am I sitting in a pile of puke? Well, I had to get you to escape some way, you know?
I mean, come on. God has a sense of humor on that one.
So good.
Or he's like a dad leading the Israelites, and they're all complaining. They're like, we had it better in Egypt when we were slaves. And he goes, I will turn this whole thing around and take you right back there. If that's
Let me pull this car over.
That's exactly what he's saying. And Moses goes, wait, calm down. And God's like, I will take you back there, and you will live back there.
Pull this car over.
This is it. I'm done.
Reaching in the back seat.
Exactly. He's hitting all 2 million.
Yeah. Just, I tell you what, y'all all prayed for me to get y'all out of there. Now that I got you out of there, now you complain because you want to go back.
All right, we're turning this on.
That's funny stuff.
Yeah.
That's funny
So
stuff.
I just looked at it a lot. I just read it a lot differently. And I found the humor in it, but it's still truth.
Right.
It's still
and
truth.
it's not that you're making fun of the word.
Absolutely not.
The word is just presenting it itself.
Absolutely not. I take it very seriously. I took some seminary classes. I took hermeneutics. I mean, I know how to get deep into all of it and the roots of it. But yet at the same time, I've always said God just winks at me.
And the deeper you go, the more you're going to find out y'all really don't know what y'all talking about.
And so it's really beneficial to go really, really deep on it, but then also come in children's ministry gets me also way up here.
Yeah.
So I can get way down here into the roots of it, but I can also zoom way far out so that a kid can understand
that's
what's going on.
That's a special talent that you have to do that.
It's a joy because I can use voices.
Not everybody can do that.
Right. Or they do it in a disrespectful way.
Correct.
So it's been a joy. It's one of those things that I truly love. I did have a channel called Kids Church with Miss Christy for a while, and it was me doing just different illustrations up in front of our church. But then our church changed kind of how we structured that. So
church split.
No,
so
it was.
I can't do the YouTube channel anymore because I lost it in the church split.
It's still all there. I just haven't updated it.
We had a vote.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I lost the rights.
I was excommunicated for nothing.
Exactly.
No,
it wasn't my fault.
It wasn't
my fault. So whenever you're talking about your comedy career, are there any stages that you're looking at going, you know what, I would really love to be able to say that I played on that stage?
Well, the Ryman. I mean, I could fall over and die if I got to play the Ryman.
Yeah.
That would be huge. And I love that Bone has always challenged me. What's next? What's next? And so I think, okay, what's next? So for a while there, it was to play with certain people or to open for certain people. It was a certain amount. It was to get paid a certain amount. That was a goal for a while. It was a certain amount of shows. And now a tour would be lovely. I don't want to tour by myself. Yeah. I just think a good comedy show is a diverse comedy show. So my favorites are 3 comedians. My favorite one probably was, I did one in Florida with Bone, me, and then Ed Wiley, who was a great impressionist. So we were 3 diverse people with different kind of comedy skills. And I just thought it was just one of my favorite shows to do. So that would be my goal, was to just go on a tour with different backgrounds, different voices, different kind of styles. I am going on a little mini tour with Leslie Robb, who is from, she does stuff with board teachers, but we're doing something with Christian Educators Association, and we're going to different churches doing something clean for teachers, since we're both teachers. She's got a great channel, but she and I are doing something around the country for Christian educators. So it's a mini tour. It's kind of cool. But
that's in a niche that no one's...
Again, it's a niche that no one's tapped into.
That is so cool. Christy, I just absolutely love spending time with you.
This is fun.
It's been so much fun.
We're
having
done?
You here.
Are you kidding?
Well, it's lunchtime.
Oh, okay. So go get coffee.
Love you and all, but this is not the rhyming. But no, they can check out your Dry Bar comedy special. Yeah. When did you shoot that?
I shot that last April.
Okay.
And it came out in January of this year. And then, January. And then Angel Studios listed me as one of 6 comedians to watch in 2024.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I can't even get them to return an email, but they've already listed you.
They listed me, as one of the top ones to watch in 2024. Right. So, it's fun. It's, but that's taken 10 years to get to that, and overcoming obstacles and fears and all that sort of thing, and getting to where you can do more. Yeah. So it's been fun.
Very proud of you. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and
absolutely.
talk with us.